Today on the Honor Roll podcast, we are talking about mentorship and how honor students can help one another find footing as they enter USF. Coming up next. Hey Honors Bowls, welcome to the Honor Roll podcast, the flagship podcast of the Judy Genshaft Honors College podcast network. I'm Mridula Singh, a senior studying biomedical sciences and psychology here at the Judy Genshaft Honors College. Today, my co-host is Caroline Merriman, a junior studying English here at USF. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Caroline. Thanks for having me back on the podcast today. I'm really excited to get to speak to our guests.
We are so happy to have you here today, Caroline. To kick off, my big question for this week is, what is your favorite memory from taking Honors Foundations your first semester?
I wouldn't say I necessarily have one single favorite memory. I just really enjoyed the class overall because you're coming to college all by yourself and it's you're getting thrown into something for the first time completely alone. And so it's kind of getting floaties when you swim for the first time, and you get to meet new people, you get to hear about what the Honors College is about and all of your opportunities, but also how you can actually access those things and use those resources. So that's what I really liked about it.
Right, and I came in during COVID, so I can definitely understand that I needed those floaties and they weren't there.
Oh, no.
On the topic of Honors Foundations, today we have two peer mentors here to talk to us about how they lead their course and their process of becoming peer mentor leads. Stay tuned.
USF Giving Week starts now. Join Bowls worldwide in making a difference by exploring over 40 Giving Week projects. We invite you to amplify the impact of the Judy Genshaft Honors College by joining our inaugural Order of the Medallion. This year, your Honors Giving Week gift will go to help support traditions like the Honors Graduation Celebration Ceremony and student success initiatives like sending honors students to present at national research conferences. And don't forget, you can still support our feedable pantry and suitable closet to help students in need by dropping off a donation at the Tampa Judy Genshaft Honors College building until April 15th. Every donation counts towards a stronger community. Visit the USF Giving Week website to learn more. Go Bulls!
Welcome back. I'm so excited to be joined today by Tanmayee Kanagala and Joey Ambrosino, who are peer mentor leads here at the Honors College. Welcome to the podcast, guys. Would each of you like to introduce yourself a little bit more?
Sure, yeah, I'll go first. So my name is Joseph Ambrosino, or Joey. I usually go by either or. But I'm a third-year student here, obviously at the Honors College. I'm a political science and history major and minoring in psychology. I hold a lot of different leadership positions today. Obviously, the one that we're going to be talking about is a peer mentor position, which I'm really, really excited about. I'm also an RA in Holly South, and I also lead a bunch of different student orgs.
And I'm Tanmayee. I'm a second-year biomedical sciences student, also at the Honors College, obviously. I have an interest in political science, but I haven't officially declared it, so that's on the side. As a biomedical sciences student, I do a lot of research, volunteering, stuff like that, and I'm involved in things like Her Campus and Asia and on campus.
Great. So it's really nice hearing about all the great things that you guys do on campus. So both of you are peer mentors here at the Honors College. Could you tell us a little bit about what it means to be a peer leader?
I think just talking about the word peer itself, I think it's a lot about support.
Yeah.
And I just remember how stressed out I was coming into my first year at USF because I was an out-of-state student. And I know that not everyone has that or shares that with me, but it was just really stressful. And it was just nice to have such a small class of people that I was able to talk to. And my peer mentor was just so opening and welcoming that it just helped so much with that transition. And I think at the end of the day, that's what Honors Foundation is about, making sure that they have that support to be able to succeed within their first semester and they're not overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. I remember when I first got into the Honors College, I wasn't the best student there was. And I really, really needed someone to kind of get me back onto pace. And for me, that was my peer mentor. My peer mentor class was at 6 p.m. on Mondays. So it was kind of late and I would kind of arrive late sometimes and she'd tell me yo, what's up? And she was that person for me to kind of keep me on track, which I'm really, really thankful for. Which kind of leads me as to why I'm a peer mentor now is I want to be that person for somebody else, I feel especially with the world getting a little bit more complex, things happening throughout the world, I want to provide that level of support for somebody, bring them back on track just how I was.
That's really nice to hear. And actually, our next question was going to be what inspired you to be a peer mentor. So that answers that for you. Did you have, something specific that got you into peer mentor?
I feel like I have to share the same sentiment. Shout out to my peer mentor, Nicole. I don't know if she's going to listen to this, but shout out to her. She was just such a supportive figure, like Joey was saying. And I feel like I related to her a lot, just her personality. She was very open. She was very honest. And sometimes I feel like since she is a representative of the Honors College, like, I feel like internally I just didn't expect that, but she was so open about her experiences, and she talked about, like, the good just as much as the bad, and she, like, guided me so much during my first year. And I just think I've always liked stuff like this, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm going into my, like, pre-med as well, is just I enjoy, like, the collaboration and being able to provide that, like, type of support and care for someone else.
Yeah, you both kind of mentioned the course in question, Honors Foundation. So what's your favorite thing about teaching Honors Foundation right now?
Honestly, if I had to answer that question right now, the first thing that comes to my mind is just be able to connect with students. I think for so long, like, I kind of had this pipe dream of just, well, not really a pipe dream. It's more just this vague idea of becoming a lawyer one day, making lots of money, and just, like, kind of just living life. But, like, I think through the pre-mentor experience, it's, like, really brought me to, like, I actually just enjoy connecting with other people. And that has led me through the path, like, okay, maybe I want to be an educator. And for me, just, like, see my students grow and see my students, like, really get what we're trying to, like, give them with the Honors College, like, all the values, all the skills that we're trying to give them, especially with wellness, like, having them come to me like, yo, Joey, can I talk to you about something? And being that level of support for them, it really, really means a lot.
And just going back to the whole small class size thing is because it's such a small class that, like, they all kind of have to talk to each other. There's really no way that, considering the activities that we're doing, that they can kind of ignore each other. So as the 10 weeks progressed, seeing everyone, like, kind of come out of their bubble and being able to interact with each other and find support, even in this, like, small classroom, I would always be like, you guys, we're friends. We're all friends.
Yeah.
Like, you might not have anyone else, but you have us, and that's the important thing. And it was just also their personalities, like, each of their individual personalities. Like, in the beginning, it took them a while to open up, but by the end, I feel like I had a lot of fun conversations with all of them.
And, as that level of, like, comfortability progresses, you begin to see, like, oh, like, you get to see, like, they also want to do this too. Like, I had a girl come up to me like, oh, like, where's, like, when can I apply?
Yeah.
So it's really nice. It's kind of cyclical.
So you guys mentioned the Honors Foundation course. What exactly is the Honors Foundation course for, prospective freshmen that are coming in?
Honors Foundations is a 10-week course that we require all honors first-year students to take, and they take it during their fall semester that they matriculate into USF. And so each week we kind of tackle a different subject. So some weeks we'll, like, split it up into 2 weeks. For example, we do Wellness Week 1 and then Wellness Week 2 later in the semester as well. We talk about on-campus orgs, how to get involved, research, for example, because remember, like, it's not just biomedical sciences students, it's also, like, humanities majors who might need research, or et cetera. So we kind of guide them through all of these different topics as they come into their first year.
Yeah, I so agree with that. I think the way that I would explain it's like my brother, who is definitely someone who, like, would get this, like, I would explain it like it's kind of like the tutorial level for the Judy Genshaft Honors College. Like, you kind of, like, it's your rite of passage to go through this, like, 10-week experience. It's kind of giving you, like, a sense of, like, how the controls work, like, where to go, who to see, like, giving everything, like, putting everything on the table, be like, this is everything, like, let me help you figure this out. Just, like, give you a good foundation for, like, the rest of your time at college, whether it be through, like, financial stuff, like, social stuff, professional stuff, anything, like, that the Judy Genshaft Honors College has to offer. Like, we kind of explain, talk about it, and, like, help them get through it.
Yeah, I really like that explanation, especially someone who had their freshman year during COVID. I think I missed out on a lot of things, but kind of going off of that, you said that you guys do activities in the classroom. So what does that look like? Or what's like if you had to give us a day in the life of, like, a peer mentor, what would it be for, like, a class?
So what we always start out with is an icebreaker, and we do an icebreaker each and every week. We, like, try to switch it up. So some people just stick with, like, regular highs and lows, so it becomes, like, a ranting session almost, not in, like, not in a negative way, just in the what do you need to agree, like, you need to
a safe place.
A safe place, yes. Like, if you need to air out any grievances for whatever reason.
Tea time.
But, like, there are also just if you random questions that we want to ask them, like, oh, if you could travel into any fictional show, what show would you go into? Or like, if you could be an Oreo, what Oreo would you be? I think that was a question that our PML Martin used one time around. And then after that, personally, I don't know if Joey did it this way, obviously, because we didn't teach the same section, but I kind of just started with like the base level introduction of like, okay, you guys, this is what we're covering this week. And then I kind of shifted into an activity, and then I kind of like brought it all back to be like, this is directly how the activity relates. So one time we did speed dating, and that was during when we were talking about interviews and how to prepare for interviews and such. And I kind of just asked them like really out of pocket questions. Like, I think one point I asked if you could have dinner with someone dead or alive, who would it be? And it like couldn't be family members or something. Like it had to be, you know, a known person. And so I just remember like the look of shock on their faces because they were like, why would you ask us this? This is not an interview question. And so after that, I explained to them, it's because you never know what to expect during an interview. You have to make sure your answers are ready and like you're quick to think on your feet. And so that was like my favorite time because I think I went on a 10-minute rant about Princess Diana at some point.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Hammond. I am a senior in biomedical sciences. My favorite honors experience would be related to my art and environment class. I got to learn how to 3D clay print, and we got to work with oyster restoration structures and design. I also ended up creating a club based off of this class. It's called the 3D Hab Lab, and we've been running all year. It's very cool.
I think for me, I was fortunate enough to have like a peer mentor pod who worked with me throughout the summer to the point where like I kind of micromanage myself to have like an activity schedule for like each day. But obviously occurrences happen, you know, things change, so you have to change some things. And so I'll tend to work like maybe like 3 to 4 hours per week, just like designing the activities, designing the presentation, doing what I needed to do to make sure that whatever we were assigned in the curriculum to teach that week, that they got it, like no question about it. But with the activities, for sure, like I try to think about it like, okay, like what did I want when I was like sitting there at 8 a.m. in the morning and be like, okay, like what am I here for, you know? And so I always try to design activities that kind of get people out of their seats, get people talking, get people moving. Like with my icebreaker, for example, I did like a little gratitude circle where like we'd actually like come up from the floor, or not from the floor, from their seats, and go onto the floor, sit crisscross applesauce, and kind of just talk about our feelings for like 10 to 15 minutes.
That sounds like
things
fun.
that we're grateful for, things that we're not so grateful for, and one thing that we're going to do to keep moving forward. And just like things like that to keep people present and like have like positive and like negative things to like, well, not negative necessarily, but just things to keep them in the moment.
Yeah.
Things to look forward.
And I think that was the great thing about teaching Honors Foundation is that there was so much flexibility with our lesson plans.
Yeah.
Is like what Joey did for an activity is not what I did. And that was okay because as long as they got the information, then that's how they got the information.
No, that sounds like a lot of fun. Did you guys have any surprising occurrences or unexpected challenges that you kind of faced during, you know, being a peer mentor?
I mean, you always expect like every single student to like have a moment where they don't feel as confident with the course or things are going on, things are happening in their personal life. So you want to, I guess in like my instance how I dealt with this is that you want to provide a space for them to actually feel and like do what they have to do to like with what they're dealing with, but actually like work with people like Kevin and Henri and make sure that they're getting the right resources that they need. If, you know, to pass Honors Foundations, you need at least 85, you know? And so when I'm faced with students who, you know, are not meeting that mark, I have to kind of reach out to them, email, text, and just be like, yo, like, what's up? Like, what can I do to help you? Like, why aren't you coming to class? Like, what are some accommodations that we need to set up? And you kind of just have to be calmly strict with them. And it kind of teaches, and I guess this kind of leads into more of the peer mentor position itself, is leads you to develop that sense of professionalism to that degree. To be able to tell someone like, hey, you're not meeting the right expectations. What can I do for you?
I think I was really fortunate just because my class was very on top of it, I'd say. Maybe there was one student occasionally who wouldn't submit his work on time, but, you know, I'd send him an email and then he would get it into me within the week. But overall, they were just on top of it. So I didn't really have an issue with their assignment performance, but it was just them in person. I had a 5 p.m. section on a Tuesday, and Tuesdays were also like some of my longer days. So my energy levels, I had to spike them right before I went. I was like, I have to get it together. Like, they cannot see me not doing my best, you know? And I think that was also an issue that they had, is that like a 5 p.m. section is not pretty. Like, they all are walking around going from class to class, and then, you know, they also have to come here. It's like an extra step for them, and then some of them have to commute back home or go to Juniper, do whatever. So I think it took a lot of energy out of them. So it just took them a little bit longer than I would have liked for them to open up. But I think the main thing is that I kept my energy up, and I think that was the main thing, is just that as long as I was an encouraging figure within the classroom, then at least they would feel comfortable to also eventually open up. And it did happen. It was just like halfway through the course.
Yeah, actually, kind of going off of that, what's some advice that you would have for people who are planning on applying or have applied to be peer mentors?
I think something that I truly thought about before I went into my peer mentor meeting is that, you know, I was lucky enough to have like a really fruitful conversation like an hour before that really got me thinking about like my place in the world. Like, who am I? What do I do? And what do I want to do to like kind of like make a difference in the world? Not everyone has to think like that, but I'd say if you're applying to the peer mentor position, just think about like how your skills can actually help you and help you grow. And by helping yourself grow, like that kind of energy and I guess, you know, dedication towards yourself can actually uplift others, because people are seeing that. People are seeing that you're working on yourself and you're doing the right things that you got to do. And the people who are interviewing you, we're going to see that, you know? We're going to see that you're making time for wellness. We're going to see that you're making time to listen to others with your time management, you know? And that you're putting in the most on campus to like help others and help yourself succeed.
No, I have to second that 100%, just because when we're interviewing people, we're not expecting perfection from anybody. It's very much like out of the people we're interviewing, who like already has great skills, but who is willing to like go the extra mile to continue developing those skills is basically what we're looking for, because we're not expecting a perfect teacher. Yeah. We talk about that a lot with like pedagogy and stuff. You can't just expect someone to like pop out of the ground immediately knowing what to do. It's like something that has to be developed.
Yeah, and just going further, like outside of like the interview thing, is there something that you would go back and tell yourself, like your first day? Is there anything that you would like give yourself as an advice?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I think I would just tell myself to chill out. You know, I mentioned before I was like a bit disorganized, and part of that was because of like a lot of the stuff like anxiety wise I was going through, and you know, I think respectfully and, you know, just conscientiously telling myself like everything's gonna be okay. Like, things are a lot worse in your head than they actually are gonna like become, and you know, you need to trust yourself. You need to relax a little bit, find some time to like, you know, believe and trust and love in you, you know.
Yeah, me too. I think the first day, if I just told myself to like take a chill pill or something, it could have been a little bit better, just because I was like trauma dumping in the form of advice, if that makes sense. Like, every single mistake I made my first year, I was like, you guys, please don't do this. Do not be like me. And this was like the first time they had met me. So some of them I was like, I hope I didn't scare you. But if I had just like calmed down and like incorporated all of that advice slowly as time went on, I don't think it would have been so overwhelming for them. But hopefully they learned from my mistakes overall.
I'm sure they did. And then our last question is, how do you go about applying for the role?
So basically in spring semester, what we'll do is we'll open up the applications for the PM position. They'll be open for about 2 weeks. And so after those applications close, we will reach out to people for interview time. So in the application, it'll say like, what time are you available for your interviews? And so, you know, they'll get back to us, pick their times or whatever, and then we'll do our interviews with them, and it'll be like a group interview and then a solo interview, and then after that is when we'll reach out and be like, you're a PM, excuse me, congrats.
Nice. And then what's like the process for becoming what you guys are, the peer mentor leads?
So obviously you have to be a peer mentor. We already covered that. But after you're done with your first semester as your peer mentor, you have the option. Kevin will host like an info session regarding whether or not you actually want to be a peer mentor lead. And in that info session, you'll be told like what you're going to expect, you know, the amount of hours dedicated towards the next semester. and you have an interview with the past peer mentor leads, and they'll evaluate you on basically like how you did as an individual and how they think you're going to do it as a team with the other peer mentor leads.
So what exactly, sorry, I don't know too much about the peer mentors, but what exactly would a peer mentor leads position entail? Like, are you guys mentoring now the peer mentors on how to do stuff, or like how does that work?
A little bit of both of that. I would expound on that. We are going to do that especially when we have the retreats, which are basically like once we have the interviews, we do the interviews. We have like a special day where people kind of come together. We get a sense of like the new peer mentors. We get to select our pods, which basically are like the teams of like 3 to 4 people. We get to work together throughout the entire summer. And in the summer, we take this class called Peer Mentorship 1, which is basically training the new peer mentors through the peer mentor leads on exactly like how to teach, what we're going to teach, and helping them design their own curriculums based on their assigned like week. Like through week 1, week 10, we go through and make those templates for that semester or for the following semester.
And then in the springtime, like what we're doing now at least, is that we're split up into these 3 committees. So one is focusing on recruitment and outreach, which is like the interview process and applications and everything. Another one is focused on wellness. Is it wellness and
retreat?
Oh, wellness and retreat, which, like Joey said, is basically like us doing bonding exercises, but also like in the future when we do meet the PMs, the retreats with them. And then finally we have curriculum. So right now we are also like building our curriculum that we'll use in the fall for honors foundations. So we kind of work in stages as like the spring semester, and then summer we shift gears, and then fall we shift gears again.
Okay, yeah. So you guys have like all your mentors kind of going in with another student that's going to be telling them about their experiences that you get to share. But yeah, that was all the questions that we had for you guys today. Thank you so much for coming out and telling us about your experiences. And I hope that everyone listening got something out of this and is inspired to become a peer mentor.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Of course.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us back in the studio. Mridula, it was really cool to hear about Joseph and Tanmayee's experience and their passion for supporting their fellow honor students in the same way that they were supported their first year in the Honors College.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the Honors College has so many opportunities to become mentors and find mentors, and I think that's so amazing.
Speaking of mentorship and involvement, make sure you attend all of our upcoming honors events, and don't forget to check the Honor Roll newsletter and our website, usf.edu/honors, for all upcoming event dates, updates, and news.
That will do it for this week's episode. The Honor Roll podcast is recorded in the Judy Genshaft Honors College at the University of South Florida Tampa campus. Production assistance is provided by honor student Abby Malloy and Professor Adam Davidson. Thank you all so much for listening, and please do not forget to rate and review our podcast. We really appreciate your feedback. Tune in next time where we'll be sharing more honor stories. Until next time, go Bulls!